Did anything else happen during the first season of The Flash? You know, maybe something that was tied into a comic book. Maybe it's time I told you about Flash Season 0. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now, this is a tie-in comic series that is technically canon until it's not. Basically, they do consider it canon until they want to rewrite elements of it in the show, making it not canon. Confusing, I know. Just look at them as fun little stories. As Barry Allen is watching a building fall down on top of him, he knows how it is true. Your life does flash before your eyes just before you die. And he remembers how all of this started 9 months ago. During a badly timed thunderstorm, a particle accelerator exploded, and then it combined with a lightning storm that was going on at that time, and it happened to hit Barry Allen, changing him into the Flash. 9 months later, Barry woke up in Star Labs with everyone who caused the explosion there: Cisco Ramon, Caitlin Snow, and Harrison Wells. Harrison explained what had happened and that Barry was now a metahuman with speed, and this started his life as the superhero known as the Flash. But while Barry isn't defying the laws of nature, he is just another crime scene investigator for the Central City PD. And then one day while working at the station, he overhears a call for assistance at the Central City National Bank. Barry, as the Flash, runs over as fast as he can to the bank to find a rather large strongman wielding a giant dumbbell. The strongman comments on Barry's red costume, so Barry comments on his nice mustache. You know, not many people can pull off the full handlebar. Then the strongman tries to smash down on Barry, but he moves to the side, stating that wasn't even close. So the strongman grabs Barry by the side and throws him into a pillar supporting the bank, and soon the entire thing starts falling down on top of him. While the strongman is escaping, Barry begins to hear the cops arriving, so he quickly gets away as fast as he can before anyone can see him. Along with his super speed, Barry did get the ability of super healing. The problem now is that his ankle did heal, but it healed wrong. So he heads back to Star Labs to have his ankle rebroken to align it properly and setting it in place. That's when he receives a message that he is needed back at the crime scene, and Harrison asks if he can get a DNA sample of that strongman that he just fought while he's there doing his job. So he heads back to the crime scene to do his police department job and get a sweat sample of the man, but while he's taking fingerprints of the guy whose safe deposit box was taken, the man mentions that this whole thing was weird. The strongman didn't take anything but the safe deposit box. Basically, he robbed a bank just to get the box. Officer West asks what's so important in that box, and the man tells him that it contains the deeds and paperwork on businesses that he's being forced to foreclose on. The man then receives a call, and Barry and the officers leave to head back to the station. But while they're driving back, Barry and Joe West watch as the cars in front of them begin to crash, and the two of them jump out to check on Eddie and Iris because they were in front of them. That's when Barry sees a tiger and other animals leaping through the smoke at him. Eddie tells everyone to stay back, and he grabs 2 pool floats and he starts to clap them together, trying to push the animals back. It seems to have worked, but what Eddie doesn't realize is that it was actually Barry running around at top speed, clapping, leaving Eddie in disbelief that his plan had actually worked. Barry calls back to Star Labs to see if anyone knows about a breakout of wild cats escaping the zoo, and he's told that there was in fact a breakout about a half an hour ago. And now there's reports of a squad of monkeys wreaking havoc over at Tech Village. Barry runs over there to find all of the monkeys in the tech store smashing anything that they can grab. So Barry thinks quickly and he grabs a bunch of fruits, and sure enough, the monkeys calm down now that they have food, and Barry manages to walk them out. But while all of this is happening, the man who had his safe deposit box taken talks on the phone, stating that of course he reported what's missing. And yes, the police do have a list of what is missing. And then he hears a voice telling him, "That's funny, so do they." When the man looks back, he sees a woman who can control animals telling him that he took something from them, and they would like it back. Soon, snakes begin to crawl up the man and they begin to bite him, and the man begs her to stop, and she tells him, "Mr. Bliss would just like to repay you for what you did to them." Back at the zoo, Barry finishes getting the monkeys back in their cages, and that's when he notices a collar on the floor with a tag on it, and he realizes that that tag has the name of a circus, the same exact one as the strongman from before. He calls back to Harrison Wells and the others to see what info they can come up with the sample that he gave them, and the sample leads them back to Joey Rose, a man with a criminal record who conveniently last worked at the Central City Circus. Without much to go on, Barry goes back to work, but that's when they get the report that the man who had the safe deposit box earlier was found dead. The man appears to have been bitten by a viper, and that's when Eddie begins to go over a list of places that the man had foreclosed on, and he mentions that one of them was a circus, the Central City Circus. And of course, that grabs Barry's attention. He sneaks off and he calls back to Star Labs and he lets everyone know about his findings, and soon Caitlin begins to pull up information on the foreclosed circus, and it seems that all of the animals were taken to the zoo after it closed, linking the zoo animals to the strongman to the circus. And the other thing that Caitlin found is that the circus owner didn't take too well to the foreclosure. It seems that after everything, he was arrested for killing a few people. Without wasting any time, Barry puts on his flash suit and he heads over to the circus. And once there, Barry runs into Joey again. And Joey the strongman tells him to just go on in. The boss has been waiting for him. Barry goes in and that's when he's greeted by a group of clowns trying to kill him. Boy, that's not funny. But after running around them, the clowns don't put up much of a fight. Soon after that, a sword swallower attempts to attack Barry, but once again, he defeats him easily. He can kind of move quickly. Joey then hits Barry on the back, causing him to fall to the ground. And Mr. Bliss walks over, stating that they need Barry alive. And Barry gets up to run after Bliss. Bliss then calls on Rajit, a man that can make things levitate. And Rajit throws Barry into the freezing space, then slamming him back down. Bliss tells him that he may be a speed freak, but he's a freak nonetheless. And you'll fit in well with everyone else here. They put Barry in a cage, and Bliss explains that once their troupe used to bring in crowds, they used to bring joy to everyone. But then, people stopped coming, and soon after they were foreclosed on. But one day, a bright light swept over them and they were all changed! Some became stronger and some were able to control animals. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Bliss used to bring joy and entertainment to people, so now they will entertain them again. Barry tells them that he's sorry for all of those bad things that happened, but he won't let them do this. And he grabs the bars on his cage and he begins to melt the bars with electricity. But Bliss stops him, telling him that he didn't say how he was changed. Bliss can make people feel whatever he wants, be it joy, sorrow, or even pain. And soon Barry begins to fall to his knees and he begins to see something. The vision that Barry is seeing is his mother, but she then begins to change and she turns into a fire and grabs a hold of Barry. She tells him that he left his father in prison and did nothing, but as Barry tries to tell her that he couldn't do anything, she disappears and Barry falls to the ground. But before Bliss can do anything else, Cisco and Caitlin drive in grabbing Barry and then they try to escape. Joey then picks up their van and throws it across the area. Cisco and Caitlin pull Barry out of the van and they all try to escape again, but that's when they run into the Snake Charmer. The Snake Charmer tells them that she will help them because the things that Mr. Bliss is doing isn't right. He makes people do things by making them feel a certain way, but they need to go. Mr. Bliss is planning something big. So Cisco and Caitlin take Barry away while the Snake Charmer tells everyone that they went somewhere else. They all manage to get Barry back to Star Labs, with his mind still gone and he's completely unresponsive. And while everyone tries to figure out how to bring Barry back, Cisco sees that the Central City Cougars are playing right now, and he asks everyone if they know what the halftime show is going to be. And Caitlin says, "Please don't say the circus." Harrison tells Cisco and Caitlin to head over to the stadium to warn everyone, and he'll stay back with Barry. But after they leave, Harrison gets up from his wheelchair, walks over to a room, and holds his hand up to a wall. Then the wall begins to change into a wall full of weapons. He grabs a device from the board and he heads back over, shining a light on Barry, telling him it's time to wake up. As Barry is beginning to wake up, Harrison sits back down and informs Barry of the current situation, and that he should probably get going. If you do watch the show, then you know exactly what's going on with Harrison Wells, but I don't want to spoil the show in case you didn't see the ending of season 1 yet. Barry heads over to the stadium, but as he gets there, Mr. Bliss is already getting to work on controlling everyone's mind. Barry radios back to Harrison asking what he should do next, and Harrison tells him that he needs to get everyone out of the stadium. But while Barry is trying to take everyone out, the Snake Charmer begins to grab a hold of Bliss, telling him that this is not what they were supposed to do. And soon after that, the Knife Juggler throws a knife, cutting one of the snakes. The Snake Charmer tries to tell the Knife Juggler that Bliss has been lying to him, but as he gets closer to the Snake Charmer, she is forced to kill him. Soon, Joey the Strongman comes up from behind and grabs the Snake Charmer, but before he could do anything else, Barry runs back in, taking her from Joey and carrying her outside. Barry tells Bliss that his show is over, and Bliss looks outside and he notices that the stadium is completely empty. But before Bliss can tell everyone to get Barry, Barry runs back in, takes a hold of all of the troupe members, and puts them in cages before knocking Bliss out. Later, while the rest of the troupe is locked up at Star Labs, Barry is called back to the station. And with that, the start of Barry's life as a superhero and science nerd, someone who's had his mother murdered and his father in prison, is beginning. And slowly, Barry is learning that being a freak isn't so bad, so it makes you different, so it makes you special. Now, like I said, this is little side stories for season 0, and don't worry, I've been looking for a lot more Flash storylines because I know you guys love the Flash and I want to bring you more Flash. So we're gonna do some season 0, we're gonna wrap up the end of New 52, we're gonna do some side stories like who is Black Flash and that story in itself, and I hope you guys enjoy all of the Flash content that we're going to be bringing you very soon. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at Comicstorian, Instagram at Comicstorian, and if you enjoy manga, you can go check out our manga channel, Comicstorian. That's where we bring you manga every Monday and Friday. I'll see you next time right here.